Is the music still playing? No, it's off. Hey, welcome back. Primetime Props, week number 15. Any of y'all play, you guys got any best ball teams cooking?
We got best ball teams. I know what the next question is, and the answer is I have 2 Kyle Pitts teams. So
good for you.
We will see. I'm not a Kyle Pitts stan by any means, but he landed on a couple teams. It's so funny how the guy who's tormented the fantasy sports community since he was drafted is now the guy you need to advance
crazy
1 week. Like, unbelievable.
I lucked out. I'm in 2 DraftKings of the Millie Maker ones there, and nobody's got Pitts in either of my pods. So live to fight another day, so I could, get my heart ripped out on Sunday, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, just crazy. I'll pass the baton over. Yo, we got a cat. We're a big cat community here in Primetime Props.
Yep, didn't see that coming. Doesn't do that often.
You know what? Every now and then Kyle Pitts has a ceiling game, and every now and then your cat walks across your keyboard, and I feel like the odds are better that the cat walks across your keyboard, honestly. I mean, good Lord, Bales, that was your cat. Hey, what's your cat's name? And talk about this Kyle Pitts ceiling game quickly that we saw. Did it really take Kirk Cousins to unlock Kyle Pitts, or what's going on?
Yeah, first, his name's Nero, and he is an absolute unit. That dude's like 23 pounds. Massive cat. Love him to death. He's the old one. We also have 2 kittens. I thought they were more likely to walk across this, but sometimes you get that. Moving to actual what people are here for, Kyle Pitts is, dude, the NFL is, if you have any amount of talent, right, which Kyle Pitts does, we know, and you have other guys out, and you have to be the focal point of an offense. It's not that hard for them to game plan you into the offenses. We saw it how many times with freaking Michael Wilson, and call me crazy, but Kyle Pitts seems like a little bit more talented than Michael Wilson, right? So I don't know. It's not something that I would consistently bank on. Like, it's not going to happen all that much. But we talk about Tampa Bay being a pass funnel all the time, and they kind of showed it when the only options are Bijan or Kyle Pitts. I guess both went off. So it's kind of a perfect storm for them.
Keith Eister, it feels like Kyle Pitts has been in the league a lot longer than 2021. Is that right? I mean, when you zoom out, it's not that long. And I'm looking at the offensive coordinator history here. He had Dave Ragone and some Arthur Smith and Zach Robinson. I don't know. Sometimes you just need the right guy on the chessboard, I suppose. Are you buying or selling Kyle Pitts being a thing the rest of the year?
Remember like 5 years ago when waiting till the tight end's second contract used to be a thing? Like it used to take tight ends like 3 or 4 years to get even integrated into the offense. Mm-hmm. Maybe we just are still in that period with Kyle Pitts, and he's going to be this elite guy that we thought he was going to be coming out. I mean, he's definitely a super athlete. Like, there's no denying that. We're just watching him. I don't know. Maybe he just needs the right situation. Maybe he just needs Drake London out of his way.
Hey, Jeff, last word on Kyle Pitts, and then I'll let you steer the show here. But since you brought it up, I obviously had to jump on and check out, who had Kyle Pitts in the pods that I'm in for Underdog and things like that. So I do have a handful where nobody had Kyle Pitts and a handful where a couple people did. I in one pod, and this poor guy is probably so mad. If you're listening, I don't remember the username, and you know who you are. He has Kyle Pitts in the Underdog Millie team. He has no quarterback because his quarterbacks are Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson, and Daniel Jones. And he might still advance with the Kyle Pitts 40 bomb. So that has to not feel so great today.
There's nothing crueler than best ball. The first year I played best ball was the second year that Underdog was doing it. I drafted one team in the Millie and I made it to the finals. I got hammered. I lost, but I won like $1,000 or whatever. One team, one bullet got in. Haven't even sniffed the final in any tournament since then. But this was the year.
Was it like I mean, obviously, you probably learned a lot more about best ball after that year. Was it like correlated at all for the postseason, or it was just...
I didn't. I sat down for a draft. This looks fun. We'll see what it's all about. Did one draft, and that got me. And I remember I had Ramon J. Stevenson was on the team, and he scored I think he scored 1 or 2 scores like real early, and like I was like in third place at 145. I'm like, holy shit! And then that was the only touchdowns I got, I think.
I feel like you're the perfect candidate for a draft for an underdog promo. Hi, I'm Jeff Edelstein, and I had fun playing fantasy football on Underdog. I drafted one team and I made the finals. I love fantasy sports. You could have fun too. Anyway, shout out to Underdog though, for real. But
best ball though, it's fucking murder, man. It's such a slog. I do it over the summer because I feel like it sets me up nice for week 1. Like I feel like I'm attuned to what's going on in the NFL. And then, this is the cruelest week of the year, though. Anyway, all right. Let's talk. A lot of cruel games on the slate. 4 games with double-digit spread, starting with this one. The Jaguars at home, 13.5-point favorites over the Jets. 41.5 is the total. The Jets are down to Brady Cook. Anyone know anything about Brady Cook? Keith? Justin?
Yeah, he's not an NFL quarterback.
All right. Good to know. The Jags have been playing pretty awesome football on both sides of the ball lately. I mean, I fully expect them to run away with this. I think, nobody really had anything to say pregame on this. I don't think you could touch anything on the Jets. And as far as the Jags, I guess, you figure ETN, is going to get fed. They benched Tootin last week after he fumbled. But, if the Jags jump out to a big lead early, I'm sure they're not going to run Etienne into the ground either. So I'll throw it to the field here. Anyone want to take it from there?
Yeah, I like Mason Taylor here. I think that
I think he's out.
Actually, I'm pretty sure I sent him to you.
You did. I didn't write him down because he's out.
Oh, he's out?
He's out.
All right, that must have happened then. Give me nothing. Give me What'd you say?
No, I laughed. Yeah, you'll have nothing and like it.
Yeah,
I'll talk about the ETN stuff. I think that's a pretty good look here. We've been trying to make Tootin happen all season long, and he just hasn't been able to find the field enough. After the benching last week, ETN played 72% of the snaps. The Jets' run defense we've attacked several times since they traded Quinnen Williams away, who's one of the top run defenders in the entire league. I think it's a really good spot for ETN.
Yeah, I get it. As I said, my only worry is that they just it happens too quick.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's what I would say too. You're not going to waste ETN in this type of game, but also I agree with Keith that he should play well for as long as he plays. It's a weird spot. We have a lot of weird games this week, I feel like.
Yeah, agreed.
I think, first of all, there was a lot of questionable tags popping up on the Friday injury report and things like that, and we'll touch on them as we go through these games. One of them that matters a significant amount here for the Jag side is Parker Washington is questionable. I know he practiced in a limited fashion earlier this week, but he's been pretty good. Parker Washington is a legit NFL football player. I don't know to what degree, but he's definitely exceeded expectations for whatever tier of player that Parker Washington, whatever tier of players he's on. He's probably the best of whatever tier that is. It's he can pop, man. The guy could ball. I think he's a good number 3 weapon. That being said, I mean, if you're making me look for a bet in this game, I don't hate Brian Thomas. Speaking of best ball, a guy who slaughtered a lot of people's portfolios probably. Just such a low number. And across the last 3 weeks, he does have an air yard share that's over 30%. So I'd like to see Parker Washington out before I hop on anything probably on the Jaguar side. My other note is, hats off to the Jags. They're having a nice season. Again, I always say on this show every week, and it's probably cliche and dumb, we don't know who's good in this NFL. I don't know if anybody's good this year. I just feel like all these teams, I want to hammer the fraud button, the easy button from Staples or whatever it is. I still don't feel like the Jags are this significantly good team. At least I can understand the Texans because they have such a dominant defense. And, if the offense kind of finds its footing a little bit, they're going to be dangerous. And, we saw them go into Arrowhead. Regardless of what the Chiefs are, they still went into Arrowhead and did the damn thing. So I don't know. Is this game going to get ugly? Probably because the Brady Cook effect. But I don't know if it's going to be like a 30-0 game here. Should be interesting. This game sucks. It's really bad.
So does the next game. Texans 9.5-point home favorites over the visiting Cardinals. 42.5 is the total. Again, I feel like this is like a similar setup as the game above. I mean, the Texans have kind of like, blossomed into the best defense in the league. The Cardinals are not going to try and run the ball. We know that. I guess we still eat, despite the fact that I think Brissett is going to get mauled here. Maybe the overs are still in play with him and Wilson, with the idea that no matter what happens, they're going to be throwing the ball.
I like the Wilson call. I like two ways that you can play it. For me personally, is number one, if you play somewhere like on Prize Picks, he set at 8.5 targets. We've seen him 3 games without Marvin Harrison Jr. 16, 15, 18. It's like they're just going to throw him the ball. And in that situation, like, you don't even need him to do anything ridiculous. Sorry, he's moving back off of the desk now. Number 2 is 5.5 receptions. Wilson's role changes when Marvin Harrison's off the field. Like, it's obviously it changes, but like it changes drastically. And he's getting some really easy looks that I don't know if I trust him, but like 15 targets and you only need 6 receptions. Like, it's not against the best defenses in the NFL. Like, it's something that is going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not a hard thing to do.
I don't know what the Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison correlation like truly is. Another guy who's been in the league a couple of years, Michael Wilson, respectable college football player who many liked. And I'm fortunate to have some shares on a couple best ball teams. But like, is Marvin Harrison just not truly a target earner? Does it take dad to get in, the heads of the organization and make some comments? I mean, we saw the Marvin Harrison senior narratives, and then suddenly they were force feeding MHJ in the next game. Like, coincidence or not, I don't know. Just a bunch of weird shit going on with this Cardinals passing attack. If I'm being quite honest, the one thing we do know is, according to fantasy points, the Cardinals have the highest neutral pass rate in the NFL. That's a good thing. So when the game script is neutral or fairly even, the Cardinals are passing, and it makes sense because they can't run the ball. And when the Cardinals are leading by 7 or more, believe it or not, that has happened this year, but 158 total snaps. They have the highest pass rate in the NFL when they're leading by 7 or more. So the ball's going up. And I feel like we talk about a lot of Derek Stingley from time to time, Keith, and like those matchups. I like the way Bales is attacking this one with the volume and not so much worrying about the yardage totals. Do you have a take on Mike Wilson?
I think Bales absolutely nailed that. I love his call out on the targets. I think that's just, 15 is the number we've seen. Like, that's way too low. Yeah, I love the 9 targets thing. Like, that seems like it's happening. And then reception, I would take receptions over yards as well, just because the Texans defense is so awesome. But Luch just touched on how often the Cardinals are throwing it. And then if they're going to be trailing, which they are, they're going to be throwing it even more. Feels like he's going to have a lot of opportunities. He doesn't need a fantastic catch rate to be able to catch 6 balls. So I think Bales absolutely nailed that breakdown.
All right, let's go to a game that looks pretty good on paper, actually. The Patriots, 1.5-point home dogs.
Real quick, I do like Stroud in this game on the other side. I know there's some blowout risk, but the Cardinals defense is pretty terrible. They've allowed a ton of passing yards. Like, I don't know which receiver to trust. I want it to be Nico Collins, but we haven't seen the volume there recently. So I'm on Stroud in this spot. I think that they throw it enough here. They haven't been great running the football all season. Arizona definitely not a defense I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
He looked shockingly good to me in Arrowhead in that environment. We've seen him so rattled just by the eye test in multiple games this year. He fit the part in Arrowhead. Credit where it's due. If that offense gets going even a little bit, they're going to be a tough out in about a month. That's for sure.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Patriots Bills. Patriots 1.5-point home dogs against the Bills. 49.5 total. Keith, I know you like the backfield for the Patriots, but geez, what are you going to flip a coin, or what are you going to do here?
I think we have to at this point. We thought that Travion had kind of taken it over, and it was going to be his backfield from there on out. But then Ramondre Stevenson outsnaps him 58-49, outcarried him 12-11. So we're very much in a timeshare here. I've been attacking the Bills on the ground all season long, and I don't want to stop now. Stevenson has the lower number. Obviously, Henderson is more explosive. I don't know exactly what to do, but I like both guys. Maybe I end up betting them both over. I did already put in Stevenson over 38.5 rushing yards, but it's a really good rushing spot for the Patriots here. They've been capable runners all season long. I think they both can get it done in this spot.
Bells?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I just can't say I like it. Like, it's just, I don't know. They just keep splitting it. Even like, heaven forbid, Josh Allen gets this game out to like a 2-touchdown lead or something. And now you're looking at like real limited carries overall for the running backs. Now you got to go 50-50 on who's even going to touch them. I don't know. I think it's a sharp call to use New England's rushing. I wish this were like a situation where we could just bet like team rushing yards. Like, that would be so much easier here. Overall though, I mean, like, not a game I love. If you want to take your shot on like Josh Allen, we saw last week, Josh Allen's the kind of guy that's going to go win the game for you. This is a game that Buffalo needs to win. Josh Allen's the guy that does that. So I think if you want to take like Josh Allen, something with him, I don't have any real problems with that. I don't think that there's like anything on the Buffalo side that I fully trust to play outside of him. I guess you probably shift to the tight ends if you want to use someone here, but I don't know. I feel like this game is like way better real life than in terms of props or not even like fantasy, but I guess just in terms of like props.
I agree. I honestly, I think that 49.5 number, I think that's fool's gold. I think this game comes in way under that.
Go ahead, Keith.
I was just going to ask is one revenge game enough for Stephon Diggs? He's sitting at 50 yards.
He seems like the kind of guy that wants several. He seems like the kind of guy that still would be pissed at Minnesota if they had it.
Love it.
Yeah, there's part of me. First of all, Mike Vrabel is going to Mike Vrabel. I've said it how many times in this show. Took him a week and a half to put Ramondre back in the saddle, nearly 60% of the snaps last week. Like, what are we doing? So, yeah, if I'm picking one back, it's probably just going to be Stevenson by default. I mean, he's terrible, especially on a yards per carry basis, but that Buffalo front seven is often injured, and they've been pretty brutal too. Also, just the context. I know the Patriots are really stingy defensively. I'm just going to rattle off a majority of their schedule here. I know they played the Bills earlier this year, and the Bills only put up 20 points, and that's fine. But they played the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Steelers, the Panthers, the Saints, the Titans, the Browns, whatever version of the Falcons it was, the Jets, that's 9 games. The Giants, that's number 10. And Joe Flacco and the Bengals, that's 11. 11. I know none of these teams are good, but that's a pretty cupcake schedule, or am I just overthinking this one?
I would love to have that schedule. Any team that I like, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, and they already beat the Bills, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be shocked if the Bills put up like a 28 spot. Whether they win or lose is beyond me. I don't know. Yeah. But it wouldn't be surprising to me to see a little bit of points in this game. At least maybe that's what Vegas is kind of thinking, because, first glance, you just look at some general numbers, Jeff. It's like, wow, that seems pretty high. The Patriots defense has been pretty stingy. Then again, it's like, wow, look who they've played.
Yeah, I just the idea of it, in New England, cold weather, second time around that they're meeting each other. I don't think either team's going to they're not air it out teams. I mean, I think it gets, if the Patriots jump out to a lead, then you're looking at the over, because then Josh Allen turns into Superman, right? But if not, I don't know. I think this game, I think that both teams play it pretty tight to the vest. And and Mike Vrabel, I think, honestly, the more I think about it, the more I like the overs on both Stevenson and Henderson, because left to his own devices, they'll run the ball 40 times if they could, and that obviously that would bleed clock if that's the case.
both teams want to run for sure. I mean, we could talk about Josh Allen all day, but we know what Joe Brady and company want to do.
Yeah.
Ideally, they want to get James Cook going because they don't really have any receivers. They haven't had receivers since they got rid of Stephon Diggs. So it is what it is. I'm with you on the bleed the clock thing. I maybe watch a drive or two and just kind of see what the scripted drives look like, and then maybe make a live bet in this one.
Up in Kansas City, the Chiefs, the biggest frauds going in the NFL right now. 5.5-point favorites over the Chargers. I cannot understand that line myself. 41.5 total. I was all over the Texans last week, and I've been anti-Chiefs all year. I honestly believe if Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce were called Joe Smith and Jimmy Johnson or whatever, the Chargers would be favored. I think the Chiefs, this number is just pure history. I really believe it. Do I think the Chargers will win? Maybe, but 5.5 is crazy, I think. So that's what I got to say about this. Anyone have anything to add? I don't know where to go with props on this game either.
You're not crazy. Gun the head, I like Vidal. I like his rushing yards here. I mean, yeah, Hampton's going to continue to ramp up. He played just over 30% of the snaps last week. Vidal played nearly 70. So, I mean, even let's say it's a 50-50 split. I like that number for Vidal. He definitely flashed at times this year, and he's certainly capable. I agree with you on that number. I do kind of like the Chargers, and we're kind of going off name recognition, it seems like. But how do you, Travis Kelce went on record saying he doesn't have the answers to fix the Chiefs this year, and I don't, he's suddenly part of the problem, not part of the solution, I think. You look at Kansas City, and they really just don't have weapons on top of things not going right. They're missing the whole right side of their offensive line last week. Andy Reid, for really once, was making some really questionable calls. Andy Reid should be the part of the game plan you don't have to worry about. And, man, I don't know. I guess, when you're super desperate, you play a little tight sometimes. Even Andy Reid, one of the best to ever do it, kind of made some suspect decisions as well. But really, you look at Rashee Rice, whose is basically line of scrimmage because they don't use him to down the field or anywhere at all. And, the other weapons are just kind of like, used car parts or whatever you want to call it. You have, the corpse of Juju Smith-Schuster, whatever Hollywood Brown is at this point. You made the analogy with Travis Kelce. I mean, he's been awful this year. Terrible drop that turned into a pick last week, too. His brain is somewhere else. And the run game has been a problem for 2 years. They were just able to mask it last year because their defense was playing much better, and they were on the right side of all those one-score games as well. So I don't think this is a Mahomes problem at all. But when you zoom out and you think, wow, the juggernaut Chiefs, they're really not that intimidating. They are not hard to game plan for right now. So I'm with you. I do like the Chargers in this one with the points.
You guys, we've all been around, right? And we know where this weird stuff goes. But let me just outline this part, right? Chargers are coming off that ridiculous win, such a high, where realistically, worst case scenario, they're tying that game. Chiefs are coming off the lowest possible low, where realistically they had to have like a 70% chance of winning that game. And then Andy Reid made that ridiculous fourth down call, which just immediately put Houston, who couldn't get a first down, into field goal range. So we have one team coming off the high, one team coming off the low. We also are in a spot where you're telling me the public isn't just hammering the Chargers. The Chiefs don't look good. You're getting almost a touchdown here. The Chargers do look good. And then we're also in the spot for the NFL where if the Chiefs lose, their games don't draw anymore because they're done. It's not good for the NFL, right? All of that, it makes it seem like 5.5 is where you should be putting it for the Chiefs. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. Like if you're just asking me, in my head, I'm like, yeah, the Chargers are the better team. Obviously, I agree with that. But when you start looking at all the factors and where stuff comes into play, it kind of feels like the Chiefs need to hit that 5.5, right?
Well, I'll just add this real quick. Sorry to jump in. I was looking at some line movements. A couple days ago, it was 4.5 on a lot of books, and now we're seeing 6. So there's certainly money coming in on the Chiefs. Get it to 6 on some books now.
There's sharp money coming in on the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, I like it a lot more 4.5 than at 6. Like, I'm back in the Chiefs. Like, for a team that doesn't score, I like that 4.5 number a lot more than the 6. That's for sure.
I think they're talentless, old, and done. I really do. I think they have not been playing well this year. It's really that simple. At no point this year have they looked good.
The one thing that I'll say is like it's so much easier to beat Los Angeles on the ground, and like Pacheco Hunt combo is like, I don't know. It feels like you could sign a body off of just out of their house and do a little bit better than those guys are doing right now. But I don't know. Just something about it screams the Chiefs have to cover this, and Vegas always wins.
Sounds like Bale's got his hands on the script, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I was sent it this morning. They win by 13.
All right.
I just lastly, and I don't, Keith. Sorry, I don't know if you have anything or not to add, but if I'm looking for one bet for this game, I will keep taking Kareem Hunt to score when he's plus money. He's plus 110. I mean, the rules couldn't be any more clear. We're in December. Pacheco's not getting that ball inside the 5. He's not going to be on the field. It's going to be our guy, Kareem Hunt. It is what it is.
Fair enough. All right. The Eagles, everyone's favorite team, 11.5-point favorites over the visiting Kenny Pickett-led Raiders, 38.5. You see, I saw on the news locally here, outside of Philly, somebody posted something on Facebook. Eagles fan on Sunday, like, this fucking team, I'm going to kill myself. I can't take it one more day. They had to do a wellness check on the guy. Like,
it's just Philly. It's just Philly and, Delco area. I mean, it's just a Philly. It's just different.
I love the Eagles, and I'm starting to like tilt, despite the fact that they keep losing. I'm tilting more towards Carlucci here, and I just feel like that they are a good team somewhere, like hidden. The Raiders are great. The Raiders on the road with Kenny Pickett is a great. I mean, can you build a better get right spot than this? I don't know. What I Barkley maybe. I don't know. I'll throw it to all.
Lane Johnson's out. Initially I was like, Barkley's not in a bad spot, and like granted they look bad, and Las Vegas actually hasn't been that terrible at the line of scrimmage, but now Lane Johnson's out, and I'm like, what do you do with that? I don't know. I'm out on this game. If I'm touching anything, it's probably Genty receiving yards. I don't love it. That's not going to be a bet that I make this week. But like, if for some reason you absolutely need to bet on this game, Pickett dropping it off to him. Philly does give up receiving yards to running backs, and realistically, Genty's talented enough that like you get him out in space, he makes a guy miss. And I think his total's still set like under 20 yards or something. So I don't hate it, but this game feels like the Eagles win by 20 while also somehow just looking absolutely atrocious.
I mean, they've been winning while looking awful for the past year and a half, really. Last week was just a really, really bad game for Jalen Hurts. And this could be another hour-long podcast just about Jalen Hurts, and it's not going to be that. That being said, I'm looking at them at 11-1, and I'm like, why not just hit it? I mean, they're getting into the playoffs. They're not a team anyone wants to see in the playoffs, that's for sure. The play calling is so bad. Like, those eggs may have been warranted. I don't condone vandalism or violence, but the eggs thrown at Kevin Petrullo's house, they were thrown with some intent. I mean, we went over the number. Go ahead.
They do. It's not just him though. It's the entire dude. They had like 13 seconds left on the clock, and Sirianni, until Jalen Hurts convinced him, or maybe it was Barkley, convinced him to at least run one more play, which gets the clock down to where the Chargers don't have the ball. He was going to try to kick a field goal.
It takes a tribe. I think like the talent on the Eagles saved Sirianni's job, extended it for better or for worse. I mean, honestly, a lot of Eagles fans around here, in PA, the ones that actually know ball, know they're stuck with Sirianni if they win a playoff game, most likely. I mean, God, it's almost like just get bounced early and hit the reset button, because he makes really bad in-game decisions on a week-to-week basis. So when you have a coach who doesn't really deal with the offense, who also has no offensive play caller, it's just a really bad situation. I mean, God, he made Kellen Moore look like a genius when you rewind time a little bit here. We went over the numbers last week, all the hit routes, the minimal amount of crossers, the minimal amount of pre-snap motion. Everything that good offenses do, the Eagles are not doing. And you said, you made a point about the play clock. I saw a chart. I don't know where I saw it, but the Eagles were by far the team that not only ran the play clock down the most on each play, but how often they ran the clock down, like how often they ran the clock down into like how many seconds left. So like no one really talks about it, but when you know the Eagles are snapping the ball with 3 seconds or less every time, there's no cadence trickery. Like the front seven knows exactly when to get off the line every time. And it's those little nuances. Like you can't tell me that this Eagles offense was veterans across the board, that this thing is so sophisticated they had to dumb it down so much. No, it's just bad, and everyone should be fired. Everyone should be fired weeks ago. Then again, what do? I don't know. Then you have Nick Sirianni calling plays and tough spot. I mean, Jesus Christ.
You could arguably say that now watch this. You could arguably say that the Raiders with Jonty Bowers and Max Crosby have the 3 most talented players on the field. Arguably.
Well, I mean, Jalen Carter's out too, so
he's out. I know.
So I don't know if you say that because of Barkley. You know,
well, not this. I mean,
I still think
I know. Maybe the play is a quarter unit plus 6'10". Just take the Raiders outright.
I think we're overlooking Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett too.
Well, I mean, Geno seems to have given up, right?
I guess it can't be. Dude, we say it can't be worse than that. Just wait till Sunday. It can be worse.
Yeah, I don't know. Keith, do you have any insight on this game?
Pickett's passing yards are 178. I'm seeing in one place. I mean, they're going to be throwing, right? I don't know. I've done crazier things.
I think Bale's made a really good point that Vegas has been pretty good at the line of scrimmage defensively. Like, they could very well force the Eagles into more throwing situations than they want to be. I know it didn't work out well last week. Okay, that was 1% probably, maybe the worst game Jalen Hurts will ever play as a pro. Maybe that last interception he threw was a pretty good play by a defensive back, all things considered. I mean, he came off his assignment and made the pick at the goal line. Like
another one also bounced off A.J. Brown. Like that wasn't his fault at all. And then he also threw one into triple coverage, which was the worst interception I've ever seen. So it works both ways.
Yeah, he's like, the funny thing is like Hurts objectively, like we're talking about it so much because it was on prime time and it looked so bad. But Hurts coming into the game had like 4 turnover worthy plays like on the entire season. Like it was so low. He's like near, like legitimately, I think it was top 2 in the NFL or something. Like he doesn't turn the ball over. And then obviously, you know, he has the game where he turns it over a ton. And now everyone is piling on, which I think truthfully it's because his season has been so bad. Like if he was playing at like this absurdly elite level prior to this game, everyone would just be like, okay, cool, bad game. People are panicking now because he has looked bad. But like the turnovers aren't something that I think long-term you even are remotely concerned with him. Like it's just not something that happens.
The Eagles have the luxury of this being a season they're really, like the fans are really upset about. Oh, sorry, you're 8-4 like the rest of the league. Boo-hoo. Like things have been running really well for them. They have the most talent on paper, and that's why everyone's so critical of them. Because you look at their talent on paper, they're the Super Bowl champs. Sure, of course, that's why we play the game, right? But you undisputed talent, and I do feel for Jalen Hurts a little bit. Everyone is clamoring and criticizing how vanilla the offense is. Why don't you open it up a little more? Well, the guy tried to. And when you have vanilla-ass play calling that is terrible with the same 8-yard hitch routes, no creativity, no motion, it's just not going to work. It's putting a square peg in a round hole. And Jalen Hurts, you know, when he has to open it up, the receivers are running just terrible pass patterns. Things just don't make sense. It should be priority 1A, 1B, and 1C to figure out the offensive game plan with this insane talent that anyone would be drooling over to get their hands on in the NFL. It's such a disservice to the talent on this team, what the Eagles have put in place offensively for them to try and succeed. So, you know, don't look now, but the Eagles need to be in these grinded out games, which is also terrifying for them. but I still think they could do it. And I still think they have upside to get to the Super Bowl, even if they're not playing their best football. It sounds terrible. And after last week's game and what have you done for me lately, society? Bales is over there thinking there's no way the Birds are coming to Lambeau and beating my Packers. But I think it would be a dogfight.
I think it's open. I don't think that the way you're kind of maneuvering it makes it sound like the Eagles should be the favorites in the NFC. I don't think that that's even remotely close. I think the Eagles are very live, but I don't think that the Eagles are top three. I think that I would prefer the Rams. I think are well ahead of everyone else. And then I think that you have the Packers and the Seahawks. And then after that, I think we open the floor a little bit more to the next tier of teams, which I think the Eagles could be leading.
I just don't think there's tiers. That Rams team that lost the Panthers. I was playing devil's advocate here. If there are tiers, the gap is much smaller, in my opinion, than it's been.
Yeah. It's not. No team's running away with it. I'm just saying, like, if I'm breaking it down into tiers where, like, I feel comfortable of where teams are, that's where I would put it.
Notice he didn't mention Ben Johnson and the Bears anywhere, Keith.
They're in the Eagles. They're in the Eagles tier, Keith. Don't you worry.
We just whooped their ass, so I would hope we're in their tier.
They're right there with them. You're a tier 3 team, which is at the beginning of the season you would be begging for it.
I'm not disagreeing here. In week 6, I would have been begging for it.
All right, let's move on. We're going to go to Cincinnati. The Bengals are 2.5-point dogs against the visiting Ravens. 51.5 is the total. Everyone's got this game circled. Bales hit all the overs. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's just like it's the best game. It's my favorite game. You can attack the Cincinnati defense basically any way you want. How I would do it: Lamar Jackson passing, and then obviously you can go back to the tight ends who both just performed very well in their matchup the other week. I also think that you can use like Derrick Henry. I don't think this is a situation where Baltimore gets away from the run as much as they did in the first game. And I think he had 10 carries for 60 yards, if I remember that right. So I think that that's an option as well. And then on the other side, you can throw against Baltimore. We saw it before. It's going to keep happening. Joe Burrow, obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He looks completely fine. I like that. No T. Higgins means Jamar Chase probably opens up a little bit. I don't believe that Baltimore has anyone that's going to slow him down. So those would be the main two that I would use here for Cincinnati on the other side.
Keith, anything jumping out at you?
I like the game overall as well. I was looking for an angle to attack the T. Higgins being out situation. We tried to do it last time with Mike Gesicki. That did not work at all because Andre Yoshivas played 94% of the snaps and he caught one pass the entire game. So it's kind of a tough situation. I'm leaning to Chase Brown, I think, and his receiving props. I like 3.5 receptions. He could get an extra look or two here. So give me Chase Brown receptions.
Luch?
I'm with Bales. I like touchdown props for the tight ends. I think Isaiah Likely's number is pretty generous. I think it was like plus 240. Damn near almost matching Mark Andrews in snap share. Really, since he's ramped up and been back. So I think you can attack with Andrews or Likely. Likely just has the better number. I mean, Cincinnati is historically bad against tight ends. So give me Isaiah Likely.
I like Likely. How is it? I'm not a film guy in the least bit, and I really only pay attention to the offensive side of the ball. But how is it possible that they are that bad against tight? Like, what is it? Like, they just have no linebackers that can keep up, or?
I think it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think you have to give up something in the NFL, right? Like, teams give up some part of their defense. Like Tampa is like, I'm going to stop the run. You can obviously throw against them, stuff like that.
Right.
And I think Cincinnati's just like, hey, we aren't even going to cover tight ends.
They're not. Yeah, it's remarkable. All right. Let's move on to the Giants. I think this game's going to be entertaining. Giants, 2.5-point favorites over the visiting Commanders, 46.5. Keith, you going back to Jackson Dart?
Yeah, I like this spot a lot. This Commanders defense is pretty terrible. They just allowed J.J. McCarthy to throw for 3 touchdowns and complete 70% of his passes. So Jackson Dart can get to work here. Sitting at 205 passing yards, that's the angle I'm attacking this. I really like a wide receiver in this game as well, but I know Bale sent that one first, so I'll let him talk about Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah, I truthfully, I don't know how I want to attack him, either receptions or receiving yards. I think you could really sprinkle in a touchdown there as well. But Keith nailed Dart. I also love Dart in the spot. But Robinson is just seeing a ton of targets. 8, 10, 9, 10, 10, 10. He's going to sit right around 10 targets. Washington's defense is absolutely atrocious. The other thing is, Washington's offense is good enough that they're going to put up some points here, even with Mariota. This is the type of game that I actually think could turn into like some type of shootout. And on the other side, I mean, I like Mariota. I like Terry McLaurin. I think those are two good spots as well. But my favorite play in the entire game is Wan'Dale followed by Dart. I think that Keith nailed that. Yeah.
I agree with everything that everyone's saying. My only concern is that the Giants last week put bubble wrap on the entire team, or 2 weeks ago rather, and ran the ball, losing 30-14. They kept running the ball. Dart had no designed runs. Is it possible that they're just saying that the ownership told Kafka, do not get this motherfucker hurt?
It could be I doubt they want to win right now,
Right.
get as good of a pick as you can. If you can get to the top overall pick, you could trade that for, I don't know if I would say a king's ransom with the quarterbacks coming out, but you could trade it for a reasonable amount.
Yeah.
But also last week they only threw the ball 24 times and Robinson had 8 targets. He's kind of the guy. It's a little weird, but Wan'Dale Robinson at this point in the season is the guy for New York.
Schematically, it makes sense too. Surprisingly, the Commanders are last in the league at allowing targets to players lined up out wide, which has drastically changed from last year. I mean, granted, the margins aren't monumental, and again, small sample size every year, but they're giving up a top 5 rate of targets to slot receivers. Guess who runs nearly 70% of their routes from the slot? None other than Wan'Dale Robinson. He is the slot guy. So I love that call out, boys. I'm tailing you on that one. I'm in now. So I like that one. And your point about the bubble wrap, Jeff, sounds like some good blackmail to me. It's like, hey, Mike, you want us to consider you for the job next year? Don't get our guards hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to hire him anyway. He's terrible. But
speaking of guards hurt, watch me make everyone very upset, because now they're going to have to work to do when we're done here. Anthony Edwards out for the Timberwolves tonight.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
That game was, you could have ignored it altogether pretty much until this.
Keith's night has just been ruined.
better now than 6:30 Eastern, But yeah, you're not going out now. I don't know if you had to grab a 6-pack for later or something, but hopefully you got mobile delivery where you're at, because you're going to be whatever content you did earlier is done. So, Godspeed.
Luckily, it's only on the FanDuel slate. It's not on the DraftKings slate because it's the last game of the night.
Good. That is lucky for you. All right, this game I could go either way this game, but I think that if the Giants are allowed to play football, this game should be a lot of fun, I think. So there's that. And then we go to Chicago, the Bears, 7.5-point home favorites against the visiting Browns. 38.5 is a total. Understand the temperature is going to be about -3 trillion. I think we know exactly what the plan is here. This has the feel of one of those games that it's 3:25. Like, holy shit, the game's over already.
This is an ugly one for sure. The cold temperatures certainly do not help. The Browns' run defense is really good, but I still think Chicago is just going to try to pound the ball.
Well, you saw what happened last week. The Titans ran all over them.
That's true. Yeah, definitely worth noting there. The problem is you can't bet anything because they're basically splitting carries right down the middle. It's a tough spot. And then I know I said a lot of words about the Bears defense last week, and it all got blown up because Kyler Gordon was ruled out pregame, and Jalen Johnson played 60% of the snaps and should not have been on the field. Definitely rushed back for the game. But their run defense was actually formidable. they allowed Jacobs like 4.2 yards per carry. TJ Edwards is a bit of a difference maker. This is just a disgusting game. I don't know if there's going to be more than 30 points in the whole game.
That was the Vegas projection last week against the Titans. Well, they were wrong. True. But I do think there will be Harold Fannin in this game. And Njoku, I don't think he practiced. I don't know if he was confirmed out or not.
He's out.
Oh, man. Yeah, and looking at our lines here, 4.5 receptions juiced, 5.5 plus money. You can get him at 46.5 receiving yards. The guy is just legit good. We've seen it enough now. Clearly, there's a little bit of rapport here with Shedeur Sanders. That touchdown catch he had against the Titans was awesome. I mean, I know the Titans have nobody in the secondary right now, nobody. But I like Fannin. I do, devil's advocate is they want to do the same thing. They want to give Judkins as much volume as they can. Where that failed last week is they trailed surprisingly a lot more than they anticipated against the Titans, and B, Jeff Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat actually showed up. And you could say what you want about the Titans the last couple of years. They were a pass funnel defense because of those two guys in the middle. Are we going to see that same thing again? I don't know if they'll be able to if Chicago is going to be able to shut down Judkins. But I think Fannin's the guy. All reliable over the middle in this one. He's got juice for some yak stuff too. So I like Fannin a lot.
Bales, anything you like here?
I think what Keith meant to say, and I definitely could be wrong here, but he said that he was talking of the Bears defense, and then what happened was they ran into the buzzsaw that is Green Bay, was I think what he meant.
All right. Jordan Love played his ass off. I will give you your flowers there. Jordan Love was incredible, but we did not play with a healthy secondary, which was my entire argument.
No, I'm just kidding. But I think that there's one. I think the Fannin call is really sharp. I like that quite a bit by Luch. I think Shedeur Sanders at 181.5 passing yards is, I don't know. I want to say it's too low, but I don't like the conditions of it freezing cold. The one thing that I don't necessarily know if I love it because they are going 50-50, but Kyle Monangai at 12.5 rush attempts, it feels like this is a Monangai game. You watched him just lower the boom in Green Bay, and when you're running these freezing cold type of games, you kind of want the guy that is just going to lower the pads and really put a beating on the defense. And that feels way more like Monangai than it does Swift. And I know, obviously they just played in Green Bay. Swift out-touched him or out-carried him by 1. But I think they're going to go pretty 50-50. And if they get any type of reasonable lead, I'm talking even 7 points. Don't you think that they just hand it off as much as humanly possible?
I do think they hand it off as much as humanly possible. I think Swift is a little bit better runner between the tackles than you're giving him credit for, but I do not disagree with your point that this feels like a Monangai game. I'm with you there.
I know you mentioned the Shedeur Sanders line. Darrell Baker Jr., Jalen Armour Davis, Marcus Harris, Micah Robinson. These are real NFL football, real football players in the Titans secondary last week. So if the Bears are even an ounce of healthy, if the Bears are even an ounce healthier, than they were last week, I would just hesitate on, thinking the Shedeur passing yards prop is an obvious smash. And Jalen Armour Davis is out this week, so we're going to insert another player in that secondary that nobody knows exists for the Titans this week. By the way,
I don't think it's a smash, but also granted, he threw for almost 400 yards. He needs basically less than half, but he also threw for over 200 in his debut where he wasn't practicing with the one. I don't think people understand how little practice backups get in the NFL. And Sanders is now have several weeks practicing with the one. He has several weeks learning how to change his protections, learning how to do everything that he needs to do at the line. And I'm not saying they give him all this leeway. The plays are probably pretty set for him, but I think his line is set more at a 4th or 5th round pick, and I think that Sanders is just natural talent is more of a 2nd round pick. So I think there's just a little bit off, and I don't know. Chicago's just not the defense that I absolutely won't play something against them.
I'm not betting it, but I am also noting that he threw the ball 42 times last week, and that is certainly not the recipe that they want to keep doing. I would say maybe around 30, right? Ideally, and just pound the rock with Judkins. So he definitely had the volume. He went crazy. Don't get me wrong, against a non-existent defense. But who got the dub? It's Cam Ward, baby. Yay. screwed ourselves out of the number 1 pick right now. I'm so happy the Titans won a football game. Let's go. A win's a win, right? We're all happy. I want to hurt a little bit.
Speaking of those Titans, they are 12.5-point road dogs in San Francisco. 44.5 is the total. I'm going to guess, go out on a limb here. Bales thinks the Niners are going to win so big that.
Yeah, Brian Robinson. I mean, I feel like this is a fine spot for him if the score is reasonable. And then I feel like if they get up like 2 touchdowns late in the game, they're going to have Robinson kind of close it out instead of Christian McCaffrey, which gives him a little bit more leeway here. But he's generally just game planned in for like 8 carries. And I believe his yards are set right around 30. So he would, we're essentially looking for him to average like 4 yards a carry against Tennessee. And then I think that we just also have the upside for, him to get closer to 12 carries if the score gets out of hand, because like San Francisco, they've dealt with a lot, but they're making the playoff push. They're as questionable as they have been at times, like they're still a team that can make a run, and they aren't if they don't have Christian McCaffrey. So like, I don't know. I don't think that you give McCaffrey 25 touches against Tennessee unless the game stays close. And realistically, like, are any of us even remotely confident that this game stays close?
No.
No. And I love Jawan Jennings, and I know that doesn't exactly fit the bill with like the blowout script, but they have to score at some point to get that big lead. And as I alluded to before, the Titans are starting nobody in the secondary, and now they're down one more nobody than they've been starting. So Jennings is just a guy who has a knack for finding the end zone this year. I think his yardage prop is pretty low too, but I like Jennings to score a touchdown on the outside there too. Since week 8, he's tied for the team lead in target share with George Kittle. Granted, it's not like a monstrous number here, but I think Jennings will do enough damage in the Kyle Shanahan scheme to hit 50 yards and a touchdown or so this week.
I'll tell you, here's something I like. No one's going to like it. 49ers defense, they've been so banged up, so hurt. They've been giving it up to tight ends. Fanning got him last week. McBride destroyed him. Gunner and Chig, I mean, I wish you could turn them into one person. But I think that they're both going to do well in this game. I think the offense, they're going to see some balls thrown their way. On the receptions, it's 3.5 for Gunner at plus 112 and 2.5 for Chig at plus 112. I honestly kind of like them both. I just think that that's where the ball's going to go. So there you go. I'm backing Titans tight ends. That's the kind of week this is.
Don't do it. It's a trap. It's just you want to talk about a team with just who might have like Bo Hardegreve, longtime quarterbacks coach, might be worse than Kevin Petrillo. Like, boy, if you're in Nashville and you got eggs, I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, expedite this process to find a new OC for the Titans would make me very happy.
I also think at some point this team is going to just bench their old players, bench the veterans and let these rookies and second year guys play. And when that happens, like I think there's value there. I like the tight end so much that I'm actually contemplating playing both of them on DraftKings.
Jeff.
I mean, to your point there, I think Helm would be the guy then. Isn't Chig an outgoing free agent? Luke, correct me if I'm wrong there. Like Helm seems like the future here. Do you think they'll resign him?
No. God, no. Chig is the worst pass blocking tight end in the NFL for 2 straight years. We established that last week. Bales was appalled with how many snaps he actually played in line. I mean, it's just coaching malpractice across the board. No, Helm is for sure the future, and I think he's a good football player. And just real quickly, I think people look back at this Titans draft, and hopefully the star will be Cam Ward. Other than that, obviously not anything like significantly moving the needle, but they have a couple of NFL football players. DK has definitely flashed, borderline Pro Bowler in the return game. I think Gunnar Helm could be legit. And Kevin Winston, the Penn State safety, finally getting some snaps on the other side of the ball there. Anyway, enough Titans talk. We got some more games to cover.
I changed my mind. I'm taking down the Millie with Likely and Gunnar Helm. So if I'm not here next week, that's why. Rams 5. This is the game of the year. Rams 5.5-point favorites over the visiting Lions. 54.5 is the total. This game just looks like fun. Nobody pregame had any bets in particular that they wanted to put down here. I mean, I feel that McVay is going to let Stafford do everything that he wants to do in this game. I love Stafford overs. I love Puka overs. Give me, 2+ touchdowns for Devontae. Like this feels and on the other side, this is a must-win game for the Lions. I mean, this game has like real potential to get real wacky.
I think so too. I think it's great for a shootout environment. Indoors, two quarterbacks who play really well indoors, two very talented offenses on both sides of the ball. So I'm with you here on game environment. The two guys I have circled are the elite wide receivers, Puka and Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other side. Receptions for St. Brown feels like a 15 target Amon-Ra spot for me. I like this game a ton.
Bales?
Yeah, I didn't send anything specific, but also mark down Stafford, Puka. I have Jared Goff's passing yards. I think that they're going to throw quite a bit, and I think that they have so many different ways. Amon-Ra is my number one, so I think Keith's sharp with that. But if you exclude that one weird week since Dan Campbell's taken over for Jameson Williams, where he just literally didn't catch a pass, he's been absolutely torching it. And even with Amon-Ra St. Brown back, like he's still doing it, and
his numbers are better than Amon-Ra in the game in that over that stretch.
Yeah, he's legitimately like highly talented, and if this game shoots out, it's going to shoot out with reasons like Jameson Williams is making these big plays. It's like you don't really have that much of a shootout without guys getting these massive chunk plays, and like Williams is potentially like. I guess Gibbs is probably the number one option for those types of plays for Detroit, but St. Brown's more of like, I don't want to call him a possession receiver. He can make plenty of big plays himself, but like when Jameson touches the ball, they're usually the bigger plays. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone or if I'm going to sound like a complete idiot there, but I think that you guys are completely right. Both offenses, I feel like, are going to go off here, and for different reasons in terms of Detroit needs the win. Obviously, Jeff already said that. And B, like this is the Stafford MVP where he cuts it off from the rest of the league. Stafford goes for 350 and 3 or 4 touchdowns here, and the case is done. It's his MVP if they win. So I think that McVay is. I don't want to say McVay is getting Stafford an MVP. But you can only throw the ball so many times on the 1 yard line before people are like, we know what you're doing. Right? So I think that that's also going to be in the back of their heads here where I don't like it's not a number one thing that you look for or whatnot, but it'll play a little factor. And I think that Stafford's going to have a little bit better of a game because of it.
What do you guys think of Gibbs receptions at FanDuel? It's 5.5 at plus 140.
I don't hate it. I'm more partial to St. Brown over 6.5, despite the juice. Like I'll pay juice if I really like it, especially when we talk about K props in the spring. I have to really like it. At 6.5 kind of feels like free money in this game. I agree with Keith. I think it's going to be a huge volume spot. I'm really confident in the Rams scoring. And I think a storyline that really, a lot of people aren't talking about because it's on the defensive side of the ball, which is a huge loss to Detroit, is Brian Branch out for the year. Just a stud. I mean, his absence is massive. And I think that spells trouble when you have two of the best receivers in football with a ton of condensed volume and Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua on the other side.
And a team that wants to throw to begin with. Right. So, right. I mean, for the Rams, it cannot be set up better. A Lions team that's the defensive, the back end is decimated, and they're going to be aggressively, they're going to be aggressive on offense. So yeah, I mean it sets up so well for the Rams, and you know where the ball's going. On top of it, although I haven't even looked, Tutu's back this week.
He's fun sometimes.
Mark him in for like a 40-yard catch. He's going to have Two catches for like 43 yards or something, and one of them will be like a 40-yarder.
Yeah. I mean, Tutu, he's the classic under receptions, over yards, and a touchdown, same game parlay, right?
Yeah, like if Rashid Shaheed was bad, that's Tutu Atwell. Well,
that's a good count.
Tutu Atwell's not bad. I'm just saying if Rashid Shaheed was bad. But what was I going to say? Son of a gun. It's Friday.
Well, while you think of it, Tutu Atwell is objectively like one of the most fun names to say in the whole universe. Like it's hard to be sad. Like if you're ever down in the dumps, just say Tutu Atwell out loud, and I think you'll get a smile on your face.
We're mental health solved on primetime props. You know what? That actually did work for me when I just said it in my brain a little bit there. So if you just see me smiling at any time this weekend, I'm just thinking about Tutu Atwell's name because it's fun. You're right. No, you're right. It's fun. But no, I mean, this is going to be a shootout. I think it feels chalky, but not all chalk is bad. You want to take a long flyer on a Tutu Atwell? I don't know. I guess we could call it the Cal special, right? The Cal Spears special. Then definitely, I have no doubts that Sean McVay is going to dial some stuff up to exploit the new safety that's going to be plugged in for the Lions. That being said, how ridiculous was it? How excessively? I just feel like yesterday's game that Tampa Bay threw their game plan away and just picked on Atlanta's Kobe Bryant the entire game. I mean, even Tirico and whoever was calling the game were on top of it. Every play, didn't matter who was lined up on the Atlanta Falcons football player, Kobe Bryant. They were throwing the ball to him. Guess what? Didn't work out. They lost. It just seemed like everything was out of whack because they were isolating one matchup so hard every play, and it wasn't always working out. That was like an anomaly situation that you don't see that much. Like, I get it. You want to try it for a couple of plays or a quarter, go after a guy and single him out, sure. But the entire game, I was like, why did Chris Godwin have no targets after the first quarter? I guess he just wasn't lined up on Kobe Bryant. Just the weirdest stuff, man. So I expect how that correlates to this game is Sean McVay is the smartest offensive-minded coach in football, arguably. He knows the personnel gap over the middle is going to be huge, and I just think it's going to be a lot of Puka and Devontae. Hey, Bells, do you know if there's any I know like Prize Picks and some other pick'em sites, you've been nailing these both players rushing or receiving yards combined. If there's a Puka plus Devontae number, I would love to see that. Or if maybe they don't offer them on the same team. But.
Usually not teammates, I don't think.
There's not teammates. It's opposite, and they don't have anything for Puka at the moment. So like Puka, I'm assuming they're gonna put up Puka and St. Brown, but
I'll be they better be very careful with that number. I mean, obviously, everyone wants to hit the over, but they better set it high enough.
All right, let's go to New Orleans. Game of the week. Saints 2.5-point favorites. 2.5-point dogs, over the visiting Panthers. The first place Panthers, I should note. 40.5 is the total. Bales, Rico, you think he's going to get the backfield back here?
Yeah, I don't. So for the thing with Dowdle is, one, we're now back down to the super low totals. He's at like right around 55.5. He hasn't lost the backfield. They're just closer to splitting now. Like, I know everyone looks at Chuba last week and he looked way better. Like, don't get me wrong. He looked better than Dowdle last week, very specifically, but he only got his carries because Dowdle also sat right around 20 carries. They were both slightly under. It's not like we had this week where Hubbard took over 75% of the carries or anything. It was Dowdle at like 53%. Carolina's going to want to come in here and they're going to want to run the ball. We know what they control their own destiny. They're favorites against the Saints. The Saints don't have this dominant run defense, and we know exactly what Carolina wants to do. They want to hand the ball off. I wouldn't be shocked if, again, they come close to having 40 rush attempts. And like, if that's the case, like Dowdle, it's too low for him because I would assume that they're going to come close to splitting 50-50 again. But I don't think that if Dowdle catches fire early in the game, they're just going to keep riding him. They're not going to use Hubbard then. Not that they won't use him. They'll use him, but in a smaller role. It's just like worst case scenario for Dowdle is that he's getting 50% of the carries. Worst case scenario for Hubbard is that he's probably getting like 20% of them. So I think that I just think that it's a better spot for Dowdle. Safer spot, I guess.
Keith, anything in this game?
Nothing for me. Devin Neal let us down last week. Almost got there on one catch, but only had one catch. So fell a little bit short. Not going back to that this week. Nothing for me in this game.
Luch?
Yeah, that run game is something. And I'm kind of partial to I'm going to use the word chasing, but almost going on a hunch that, Bells, you mentioned this might be more of a split. I think I'll take that with Chuba. I mean, when you zoom out, Dowdle in 3 of the last 4 weeks has averaged 3.2 yards per attempt or less. Suddenly the Panthers are in the driver's seat and they need to win football games. And by the way, we talked about it briefly a couple of shows ago, but what a turnaround for the freaking Panthers and Dave Canales. Like, they might win the division this year. That's a quick turnaround. I know the division is not great, but, good for them. But if Chuba's looking, better than Dowdle was early, there could be a little bit more of a hot hand approach, and maybe the carries end up similar. I'm not sure that Dowdle and Hubbard takes have to be enemies in this one. But Hubbard's lines are so low, I don't mind hitting an alt proper too. I don't think it's far-fetched that they both go for 40 or 50 yards. Depending on how the game goes. But you said New Orleans has been pretty stingy against the run lately, though. We'll see, but I agree with you, Bales, in the sense that Carolina wants to run the ball, and all the targets will probably go to Tet in the passing game.
All right, before we go to the next game, I just got to show you. We were talking to someone before the show. Let's see if this works here.
That's your dad.
That's my dad.
Yeah, you're telling the truth there.
Wow. Chat, we were talking about Larry David and doppelgangers, and that is not a Larry David Google photo. That's Jeff's dad. Wow, that's great. If I took my contacts out, Jeff, I would say that's Larry David.
I'm telling people, and his name's Larry, so when people would see him on the street, they'd be like, Larry! And he'd turn around and sign autographs.
It's even weirder because he's like, what, right? Like,
well, that's right. Yeah, good luck convincing someone you're not someone when they say your name and you answer.
Has he ever signed an autograph for anybody?
He has, yeah. In fact, and because he stopped saying no because people didn't believe him. So there's a restaurant in Arizona with an 8x10 of Larry David with my father's signature on it. That's a true story.
That's so messed up.
I love that.
Anyway. Yeah, it's bananas. All right, the Denver Broncos, 11-2, home at Mile High, are 2.5-point underdogs to the Green Bay Packers. Total 42.5. Bales, I'm sure you're very happy about this. So why don't you tell us who your favorite play in this game is?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that it's Christian Watson so bad, but I'm assuming that Pat Surtain is going to shadow him. So I'm swapping over to Jaden Reed. Reed played a pretty heavy share of the snaps in his first game back. He looks completely healthy, obviously had a ton of time off. Pretty solid target share for what he's working with. And when you look at Denver, you can beat him in the slot. A lot of slot receivers have beat them this year. I know, obviously, we like to attack guys against Riley Moss, which I would mainly assume would be Romeo Doubs, but you can absolutely beat Denver in the slot. And I believe Reed is, I think he's slightly under 40 yards or something. Like it's just a really low total for him. So I think that he's in the best spot. That's honestly pretty much the only thing I like for this game. I think that it's similar to like some of the other games. I think it's a way better real life game than game for props or fantasy.
Keith?
I wanted to like Christian Watson too because he looked absolutely awesome last week. Just cooked Johnson in the first quarter on a slant route that he took for like 20-something yards, and then scored the touchdown when he cooked C.J. Gardner-Johnson out of the slot as well. I do think that Watson can get some work done out of the slot, but Surtain has been following people a little bit more now. Not something he's done in the past, but he is doing it this season, which, I mean, when we're talking about the best cover guy in the NFL, it's a little scary.
Luch?
Yeah, I'm not betting this game, but I'll take my 10 seconds to say thanks for tuning in, y'all. And if you like what you hear, give our YouTube channel a follow. It's free. It helps us out a great deal. So we appreciate you for tuning in. Yeah, I'll watch this one as a fan, and we'll tell a lot more about this Green Bay Packers team after their trip to Mile High this week. So
real quick poll. Do we agree on the spread in this game? Bales?
As a Green Bay fan, I think it's 7 or 8 points too close. As the normal human being, I'm a little shocked that they're favorites.
Yeah. Keith?
I think Denver's a little fraudulent, so I do agree with it as much as it pains me to say it.
Luch?
It's close. I mean, I think most of this league is fraudy. I just think no one's really that good. So I kind of view this more of a pick 'em, if anything. But I agree. I don't think Denver's is the juggernaut either. A lot of question marks there, a lot of head scratchers with Bo Nix, and a lot of incontinuity in that offense as well. So I would say more of a pick 'em, but it's not the worst line I've ever seen.
All right, last game on the slate for us is the Seahawks, 13.5-point favorites over the visiting Colts, 42.5. Tune in to watch a grandfather play quarterback, probably. My God, this league. But Hells, I have a note that you would like to talk about Phillip Rivers. Go ahead.
Like to is a stretch. They set him at like 150 yards. He's even his last season, and I mean, it was 5 years ago. He's constantly he threw for over 4,000 yards. I don't like anything about needing to play this. But I mean, dude could dump off to Jonathan Taylor, who could take it 70 yards. Dude has Tyler Warren. He has Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman, the Josh Downs. The offense is so good. They have one of the best offensive-minded head coaches in the entire league. We saw everyone was like, Daniel Jones is absolutely atrocious, and we saw him getting legitimate MVP talks at points in the season. Phillip Rivers, there's no way he's good. There's no chance he's good at this point. But I don't know if he has to be to throw for 150 yards. I don't know, dude. It's such a low number for a guy that maybe it's nostalgia. Maybe I'm just thinking back and I'm like, this guy used to throw for 400 a game at times. He has a handful of games in his career under 150 yards. And now we put him in potentially the best spot he's ever been in, and all this. I don't know. I understand he's a grandfather. It's not good. I don't think they should put him out on the field, but it's too low.
I just, if he plays well, better watch out. I mean, this is the same organization that bought into a 6-week Daniel Jones sample size to mortgage all their future first to get a cornerback. And here we are. I mean, I know Daniel Jones' unfortunate injury didn't work out, but maybe they'll believe in Phillip Rivers and ask him to play till he's freaking 50. Knowing the Colts front office, I wouldn't doubt it. So we'll see what happens. I don't hate that take, especially if the Colts trail. Seattle's pretty stout. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's volume is going to be through the roof until it probably can't be anymore. And I don't think it matters if it was Rivers or Riley Leonard under center. I'm just not betting this game. I'm going to watch, and I'm going to be very well interested. That's for sure. I have no Phillip Rivers in my best ball portfolio, though. I left him out.
Yeah,
I'm a loser.
Same here. I like. I mean, but I like JSN here. I mean, the Seahawks threw the ball. They threw the ball last week. They kind of gave up on running. They let Darnold throw. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if they do the same and just try to put this game away immediately.
Yeah, I like Darnold. Sorry, that was a quick one. I forgot I actually like to play in this game. I actually already bet it, so I lied to everybody. I actually bet Sam Darnold passing yards yesterday morning. Because I wrote it up at props.com where all of our stuff is 100% free. Check it out, props.com. Yeah, I think I will give Indy's defense some credit. They're really good against the run. And we know that's what Seattle wants to do. But JSN is so damn good. Shaheed's finally involved. Really low number for Sam Darnold. I wonder, let me see what it's at now. 232.5 on Sleeper, 231.5 on Underdog, 229.5 on FanDuel. A game where two quarterbacks don't have to do a lot to hit their overs. Granted, very different circumstances for sure. But
all right. Yeah. We're going to wrap it up here. I'm going to give you my best bet, then I got to bounce before I get divorced. And then I'll let you guys finish up here. Always a pleasure hanging out with you fellas. My best bet, I'm just getting an asshole. Gunnar Helm over 3.5 receptions at plus money. I'm taking it. I'm in. I love Gunnar Helm. He's going to win me a milli. Have a great week, everybody. Luch, take everybody home. I had a hard out. I get to say it live. A hard out. Take it easy, fellas.
Thanks, Jeff. We'll talk to you over the weekend after you take down the milli.
That's it. It's the plan.
Yeah, Gunnar Helm. It's not my best bet. I don't know about that Titans offense. Love that Jeff's showing the support though, but I can't go there. Man, favorite bet of the week. Let me throw you under the bus, Keith Keith, what's your favorite bet of the week while I bring up my bets that I put in?
I'm also going to pass it because I want to see what Bales says before I make my decision. So Bales, you're up first, buddy.
Nice. I actually, I have nothing in mind. I'm going Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going receptions or receiving yards. I think both are very, very viable. If I had it like gun to head right now, I would probably go receiving yards. But I like Wan'Dale Robinson. So on to Luch, or
that's what I thought you were going to take. So I'm ready to roll now. I wanted to let you get that out if you wanted that one. I like his quarterback, so we'll just go ahead and correlate those. Give me Jackson Dart over 205 passing yards.
Yeah, the handful of bets I have in, Juwan Jennings to score, Juwan Jennings yards. I like both of those. I like Harold Fannin a lot. It feels a little chasey. I know I was crapping on Shadur. I know you called me sharp, Bales, but it feels a little like recency bias related though, so I don't feel great about it because of like the huge game that Fannin and Sanders had. But without Njoku, I mean, Fannin will see 7 or 8 targets probably, right? That's reasonable.
I think that's like, I don't want to necessarily say floor, but I think like 25 percentile type deal, I think is right around 7.
Yeah, so give me Harold Fannin, although I do really like Juwan Jennings in that game against Tennessee too. So that's it. It's going on 5:30. We have NBA to do. By the way, Tyrese Maxey just ruled out, so we'll break you that NBA news coupled down with Anthony Edwards, who was ruled out about a half an hour ago. So got about 90 plus minutes to adjust accordingly. So before Keith comes over here and slaps me in the face because I'm prolonging the show a little bit. We appreciate all y'all for tuning in. Go on over there, props.com. Everything's free. Please check out our YouTube channel. Give us a follow. We'll be right back here next week. For the recently departed Jeff Edelstein, that's Keith Eister and Justin Bales. I'm Justin Carlucci. Good luck. Have a good weekend, everybody, and thanks for tuning in.